can't our dreams be our reality? Like, obviously, you can't walk around sleep all the time, right? And I might dream of working on an Avengers set, and it's going to take me a little bit of time to get there, obviously. But why can't we bring ourselves closer to our dreams? Maybe I won't be on an Avengers set, but maybe I can get myself to a Marvel panel where I'm talking with the people about the production of the film. That's still a dream, right? Let's talk about what it means to get closer to our dreams and how we can do that today. You're listening to I Have Given My Answer with Liz Gillum of E616 Consulting. If you're ready to take part in the conversations that give Black women the comfort, the community, and the confidence to live our lives freely, recognize our true worth, and embrace softness, and I know you are, then you are in the right place. I am your host, and you can join me each week as we talk honestly and authentically, freely, and in our own words. There is no one here to disappoint, no one here to judge, just Black women supporting other Black women. If you are ready for that community, then step into the right place. I'm back. I'm so excited to be back. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be back. Last week, we took a bereavement break and we're back. So thank you all for hanging with me and for taking the time to still come back and see what we're talking about. I'm not going to hold you because it's already been a few days. I'm not going to hold you. So what I want to talk about is something I wanted to talk about last week. And I'm excited to really get into it this week. I want to talk about our dreams. I want to talk about what happens when we dream. I want to talk about what it looks like, what it feels like. What are the conditions necessary to really dream and live a life that mirrors your dreams, right? I'm going to do a little bit of Marvel lore, and then we're going to move into what this looks like in real life. But if you've seen Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, you understand that the theory of the multiverse is that when you are asleep, when you dream, what you are seeing is yourself in another universe living another life, right? That's the last Marvel term I'm going to use, the last Marvel reference. But think about it. Even if you're not a fan of Marvel, think about how awesome it is that if you are sleeping, the life that you are living in your dreams is happening to a you somewhere else. So if you're living this life where you're a celebrity or you're doing all these different things in your dreams, that means that there's a possibility that you somewhere out there is living this life in the fantastic. I really love that. I enjoy going to sleep because I never know what I'm going to be doing, who I'm going to see, where I'm going to be. And it's so exciting for me to get to see what Liz is doing in the multiverse. Because I'm like, girl, what's up? What are we doing here? Right? I love finding that out. And so for me, it is exciting to imagine and think about just what it takes to get my brain to a point where I am calm enough to imagine and where my brain is calm enough to go to a place where it thinks about all of the possibilities of what can be. And my brain and your brain and nobody else's brain can do that when we are constantly in a state of survival, where we are constantly in fight or flight. It is a nature that requires a state of rest. And so today I want to talk about exactly what it means to dream. Do you dream more vividly when you are awake or when you're at rest? Because I mean, we can daydream all day long, but it largely has to do with what we can see and what's in front of us. And when you're able to give yourself a moment to relax and really just let your brain rest, how much bigger are your dreams? I think it's in those moments that we really dream of what's possible, right? But when we are at rest, when our brains have time to recharge, we can dream of things that are, again, a little bit more in the fantastic, right? We can dream of those things that untether us from the hooks of reality and to let ourselves fly away into the beauty that is the multiverse. And if other versions of you get to live these fantastic lives, then that should let you know that there is room out there for you. What do we need to do to make it so that instead of us being a participant in a random universe, that the universes all move around us? What makes us the center of our own universes, right? What's missing is that we are passive participants instead of active ones. So many times we let life happen instead of us happening to life. So what's keeping us from living in the timeline that we want to live in, right? Or bringing the timelines together so it looks a lot like what we want. Now, look, I be out here dreaming about dating, marrying Chris Evans and dating Loki. These are the things that I dream about. I don't have any shame about them because they be real good dreams, right? I could wish and hope and pray all day long. These things aren't going to happen. So I am not saying, please go out there and damn the world. I'm going to get this dream. Please don't do that. That could lead to stalking. This is not legal advice, but just don't do it, right? But what I'm saying is there has to be a way to get us closer to our dreams. Maybe the closeness in those dreams for me is that I want to be closer to working with the Marvel universe. And I'm on my way, right? So I wonder, why won't we let ourselves get untethered from this? Why are we holding ourselves to higher standards to where the only thing that we are allowing ourselves to enjoy is the very life that's in front of us? Are we holding ourselves to this higher standard because of grief, survivor's guilt? Are we feeling like if I take off, then everybody else who I came up with is going to feel bad and judge me? We worried about the judgments of other people? Like, what is it that is keeping us from rising above everybody else and being reasonable and getting what you need out of life? Why should you just be a participant in your life and not the main show? And I'm not trying to say that there are not outside forces that are keeping us from doing it. Obviously, I know that those exist, right? But what are the things that we can do in our own lives so that we are existing in this multiverse where we're feeling better about our place in it? So I didn't just want to ask you the question and be like, what can you do about it? Let's talk about 3 things we can do so that we can bring the timeline that we want closer to the lives that we are living today. The first thing you can do today to focus is to forget about what everybody else says is possible. If I listened to what everybody else says is possible, and I'm not saying that my life is this incredible, it's a dream to me, right? But if I were to listen to what everybody else said was possible, I would be living in their myopic versions of what they can do. And I would be holding myself back from the fantastic life that I live, where I get to watch Marvel movies for work and I get to encourage Black women all day long. That's a dream to a lot of people. Right? So the first thing we got to do is we got to stop limiting ourselves to what everybody else says is possible, because those aren't their dreams. They're your dreams that you want and you have. And if we're going to live life on our own terms, we have to ignore the terms and conditions everybody else sets on their life. They have their reasons for limiting their lives, and they have their reasons for trying to limit yours, but you don't have to adopt those reasons. Fuck them people. And tell them that if they are not unequivocally on your side, then they can kick rocks. It really is just that simple. So step number 1, forget about what everybody else says is possible. It really is that simple. Step number 2, set boundaries. I will say this until I am green in the face. Set boundaries. Set boundaries. Set boundaries. When we set boundaries, we are protecting ourselves and leaving other people outside to their foolishness. You can keep them out because what happens inside of your boundaries is what you allow and what you accept. When you're asleep, we're going back to dreaming now. When you're asleep, your brain takes over. That's the ultimate boundary. Nothing can get in there. Your brain takes over. And it's giving you what you need to hear, what you need to see, what you crave, because those are your boundaries. Unless your bootleg alarm clock starts to jump in and get it, that's a whole other story. But when you're dreaming, the boundaries are set. Other people don't get to come in and tell you what happens in your dream. And if you really tap into what's happening when you're dreaming and people come in with their bullshit, if you really tap in, you can shut it all down. When we have boundaries set up, we are not beholden to the beliefs of others. We're just not. And the third thing we can do, and this probably makes a lot of sense when I'm talking about dreams, the third thing we can do is we can rest more. We can rest our brains more. Now, I want you to take it out of your mind right now that the only thing that can happen when I say rest is sleep. Yes, sleeping is urgently important. Yes, sleeping makes a whole lot of sense and we need to do it. But I mean, let's calm ourselves down by focusing on the things that make us happy. Rest our brains by removing ourselves, even for 5 minutes, from situations that bring us stress and pain. When you're constantly in fight or flight mode, you're unable to dream because you're trying to survive. Think about when you're having a nightmare. You're trying to survive. You're trying to fight. You're trying to fly, trying to get away from something, but you don't really get a chance to dream. But when you're at rest and you can really just let all the bullshit go, you can start to imagine what feels good. You can start to dream about what life could be. And what I'm trying to do here is to let you know that there is a place for you to thrive. There is a place for you to embrace those boundaries, embrace that rest, and embrace getting rid of what everybody else says so that you are in a place where your dreams come to the forefront and you can see what's possible. I will say all day, every day, you cannot be what you cannot see. And sometimes those dreams that we dream are the first pieces of evidence of what we can be. So 3 things you can do today to give yourself space to bring that dream timeline closer to your reality. Number 1 is you can forget about what everybody else says. And people ain't got nothing to do with you. Forget about what everybody else says and their own limiting beliefs. Let them be their own. Number 2, you can set boundaries. We have to stop letting everybody into our most sacred places. And our mind is one of those places. Stop letting them in. Number 3, rest. You can rest more. Take care of your body. Take care of yourself. You deserve that. Rest more. Rest. Rest more. All right? So we are talking about dreams because your dreams can be your reality or they can get pretty fucking close. And it's up to you. Okay? I love you. I will see you next week. Bye. Hey, listen, y'all, if you have not already signed up for Mission Chaos, I don't really know what you're waiting on. We talked about a little bit of Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness in this week's podcast episode, but Mission Chaos, we're going to be talking about embracing the chaos in our lives and taking that chaos and moving toward resilience. So we're going to talk about all of the trauma and the things that we have been through earlier in our lives, how to embrace that. I'm not saying accept it, I'm saying embrace it and move forward in a way that presents it so that you can have that resilience that you require in order to get closer to your dreams. All right. So Mission Chaos starts February 1st, 29 days of me in your inbox every day. Just email. You can check them when you need to, check them when you can. There's going to be daily quests. There's going to be journal prompts. There's a lot of stuff going on in there to get you moving. It's all at your own pace. There are no wrong answers, just a bunch of right ones. So if you haven't checked it out, go to missionchaos.e616consulting.com/mission-chaos. chaos. It's going to be in the show notes. Don't worry if that's a pretty long title. I don't want you to feel bad about it, but yeah, so that's what we're doing next month. We've also got some other stuff coming up. We've got a merch store coming up. We've got a quiz coming up, a free quiz you can take. There's so much going on back here. Y'all don't even really know. But yeah, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, if the episode really resonated with you, let me know. I want to hear it. Let's talk about it. All right, guys. See you next week. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of I Have Given My Answer. This week's episode was produced by Oz Longworth Jr. of Longworth Media Solutions. We hope that you have been reminded that you are enough. Be sure to come back next week where we'll have another conversation to remind you just how wonderful you are. We here at E616 Consulting keep Black women grounded in love through community, comfort, and confidence. And we can't do that without you. We can't wait to hear how this episode touched you because we know it moved our souls. Sis, you are enough and we love you for it.